jumping back to where you first got into trading, did you start with a demo account?
At first, I traded with a demo, but for like probably 2 weeks.
What kept you from staying with the demo? What was the mindset with the demo?
I think I just had disposable income, and I was basically, not to your fault, but you go around on Instagram and you see
Wins.
You see people living a
Everybody's living a
lifestyle,
life. Dude,
and you're
you don't
like,
see it. Everybody's winning.
Right.
It's Instagram.
Everybody's a
winning.
millionaire. So, immediately you start seeing that, and I'm like, well, what am I waiting for? Obviously,
Get off this demo.
Gambler's mentality. Like, I know what I'm doing. I can just, kind of blindly navigate my way through it. So demo wasn't very long, and that's definitely a mistake. But I think that when you first start off, like a lot of people have these mistakes because they're all coming into this through the same pipeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
like they're getting sold a dream by, and sometimes unbeknownst to them by friends or family, whoever else gets you interested in this. A lot of times it's like IML, so it can be malicious. They're just trying to suck you in. They don't care.
Sure.
They teach you a shit strat, and they say, yeah, here you go. You're going to be
Get
a millionaire.
your friends signed up.
So that's the problem. Everyone's coming through that same pipeline.
And
I was a victim of that pipeline as well. This is the dream.
Yes.
Here it is. All you have to do is
fantasy.
learn this one thing, and you're going to be a millionaire, in no time. And that's the wrong pipeline. The pipeline now, in the way that, it's being taught with ASFX, is like, come in and understand that you're not quitting your job tomorrow. Right. That you're not going to be a millionaire
So
overnight.
is that something you wish you would have known earlier, was to
Absolutely.
not step away from the job? So like, if we go back to it, how long was it before you pulled away from other sources of income because you were like, I need to go balls into trading. Like, this is what I need to do.
I mean, I quit. I had 2 jobs. I work in a restaurant. I make a lot of money doing that. I have video production. So I do well. I had disposable income, which also led me to taking a lot of losses because I was like, I can afford to lose it, which that's just silly in its own right. Yeah. But that's where I was. And I would say that if I had learned like what is going on now, I still don't know that maybe I was mentally ready for it. Because
so it's more than just the strategy, what you're saying. It's the mental readiness of I'm going to leave my job and rely on this for income. That takes a big mental decision. It's a lot of discipline to be able to commit to that idea. It's very difficult. So you think you jumped into it a little bit too early?
Yeah, I left my job way too soon. I was trying to do video production full time, so I was still doing that. I still had that income, but I was getting rid of the restaurant to try and move out of serving.
And what happened from there?
And then, from there till now, it definitely set me back 2 years. But, it's like a paid education. I dropped out of Rutgers. And, with trading, sometimes you gotta pay. You gotta
pay the cost of doing business, almost like. And you know what?
It's like tuition.
It is. And it's tough because there's a lot of adult senior traders out there that are like, no, you don't need to do that. It's not paying tuition. But to the point that they don't speak about a lot, I feel like, is that there isn't a lot of great education out there. And if there's not great education out there, if there aren't a lot of solid communities that you can really get into and make money off the jump and feel like you know what you're doing, if there's not that, then how can you expect the result to be anything but that? You know what I mean? So I think that so because you have that lack, and then like you said, people coming in through that funnel, people all kind of coming into this for the wrong reason, it makes it very easy to be a gambler, to fall into those biases, those human biases. I can't be wrong again. I got to go bigger this time.
Market has to do this. Look at this thing. It's been going up for 2 weeks. It has to turn around.
Exactly. And those are the things
you don't truly understand.
And the only thing the only way you can really learn that, I think, is by doing what you said. Paying the cost, paying the tuition. So to all the older guys that are always saying, you don't need to do that, you don't need to go through, I think kind of you do. And even, like you said, now with our program and the way that the system works and the way that we put people through the education before they come into the community, I still think that there's a degree of loss that you have to anticipate, and you should want the losses, almost, not big losses, but losses within what you're doing, losses that you understand what you're doing so you can adjust, you can tweak. For example, I had a call yesterday, like I told you, with one of the guys in our group, Jacob. Jacob was saying to me, even that day, yesterday, he took a trade where he got into early. The cross wasn't there. The identification for the system just wasn't there yet. And he got in early and he got burned. Mm-hmm. And we talked about that eagerness and what that can lead. And it really does go back to the same thing that causes your gambler's fallacy, the same thing that causes people to think, oh, it can't lose again, let me go bigger. The same thing, you know what it is? It's fear. It's lack of abundance. And I think that as new traders, when we started in this, and the reason that a lot of people watching lose money is rooted in fear. It can't be anything else. It's fear that they forget that there's more coming tomorrow, more coming next week, more coming next month. It's lack of abundance. It's worrying that there isn't going to be enough for you. And that mindset is the opposite of what successful traders have. The successful trader always is thinking how much there is. Wow, there's so much for me. I don't need all of that. There's too much out there. You know what I'm saying? There's too many opportunities to trade. The skill of being a trader is just so great. I'm so grateful for it. That type of positive mindset versus looking at it the other way is what makes, I think, successful people be that. And like you said, the only way you get to that point is by what? Paying the cost and staying alive. And we've talked about that a lot, I think, is that staying alive is a very crucial thing. And you've really managed to do that well. So talk to a newer trader. If I was someone that just started, what would you tell me as far as like how to survive? Give me an actionable thing, someone watching that they can take away. How can I survive like you did? If I'm going through this period where I don't have a system, I haven't tried Austin's system, I haven't tried any other profitable, I can't find it. How do I survive? What do I do, Drew?